Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Do you work in emerging tech, working on something innovative, maybe an entrepreneur? Apply to be a guest at www.coruzant.com/brand. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Igor Pogany. Igor Pogany, author of the Ultimate ChatGPT Prompt Book, has sold his AI education company, AI Advantage, to business industry leaders Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi. As part of the deal, Robbins and Graciosi have acquired Pogany's successful YouTube channel of 400,000 subscribers and community of AI enthusiasts. The new company, also called AI Advantage, has a mission to make AI clear, practical, and human. Curated and guided by Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi, their purpose is to help everyday people cut through the overwhelm, gain confidence with AI, and apply it in ways that create real results in business, career, and life. Well, good afternoon, Igor. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate it. And you're hailing out of Lisbon, Portugal today. I'm in Kansas City. As you know, I traverse the globe doing these podcasts, much like you and your audience. But I just really appreciate you jumping on and being able to talk on a podcast. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right into your first question. Igor, you authored the Ultimate ChatGPT Prompt Book, which helped demystify prompt engineering for everyday users. What inspired you to focus on prompts as the gateway skill for AI literacy?
Well, really, Brian, it comes down to this. After teaching tens of thousands of people in various formats, whether that's live or it's for YouTube videos, or it's through extended webinars or cohorts, I've noticed one thing that every human has in common. And that's that really learning new skills, first of all, is uncomfortable. That's just a fact. I don't care how open-minded you are, just learning something that you're really not good at is not the most pleasant experience on planet Earth. And that's a fact. Now, what I found over all of these cases and over teaching all these people really is that it changes. It changes from something slightly uncomfortable, from you venturing into new territory that most people don't like to do, into something actually really enjoyable and exciting and even inspirational by just finding one thing that works for you personally. If you find one prompt, one use case that actually unlocks something in your life that you have been already doing, but you didn't know AI could help with it, and all of a sudden you gain some time back, or you increase the leverage that you have in your life through that one prompt, I see people's posture change. I see their eyes sparkle. I see them engage with the materials. I see them going into explorer mode rather than being in this kind of fear-based stance when they're not even sure what all of this AI stuff is about. And it usually happens in the beginning when I find one thing that works for them. And that's why I decided to standardize this approach by, first of all, showing people what it can do, but showing it through a variety of examples. A variety of things that they can do themselves with AI today by just simply copy pasting a little phrase. And over the years, certain ones work better than others. And by filtering this over and over and over again, I put together a book that summarizes all the best ones and the first approach that I really see work for people, with the goal of onboarding as many people as possible onto this technology, because it will only be more important going forward. It's already changing society. But ultimately, really, by finding one use case, one prompt that works for you, this world opens up to you and gives you the opportunity to, just do more of what you already love. And it all starts with one prompt. And that's why I created the book that focuses on that, finding the one prompt that might just change your life.
That's awesome. And keeping it simple, finding that one prompt. You talked about, obviously, lots of people, we're all human. We put our shoes on the same way, right? But humans generally, learning is uncomfortable. And what I really liked, what you said, is helping them find that one thing that works for them. It just really makes them light up. And that's why I think your book is amazing, because you're doing something for the world. You're helping the world be a better place. And I think even Tony said, Tony Robbins, I should say, people learn a lot more when they're having fun. And I think if you can find that little thing that'll make somebody sparkle in your class, that's just changes the world. So thank you. And Igor, AI Advantage's mission is to make AI clear, practical, and human. Why do so many people feel overwhelmed by AI? And what's the fastest way to build real confidence with it?
Yeah. So really, I think it's hard not to feel that way. I mean, that's how everybody's communicating AI. It's here's a new thing, and the thing that you know is not good enough, and then it's changing every day, and then it's going to take over the world, and it's going to take your job, and all of these fear-based narratives, they're everywhere. All the companies, they market their new products, all the AI companies and tech companies, they market them by telling you how much of a game changer this new thing is. What's implied in the word, even game changer, is that the game that you already know, the one from yesterday, is not relevant anymore. It has changed. This new tool changes everything. And if you don't know it, you're falling behind. How could you not be overwhelmed in the face of all that? How could you not be overwhelmed in the face of not just media, but also all these tech companies, and then also all of the creator economy, all the most podcasters and creators and YouTubers and streamers and TikTok and X content creators? The things that gets you most attention in a short amount of time, the most attention in a short amount of time is really going into these narratives that are amplified, that are exaggerated, that are fear-based. That is the stuff that gets you clicks quickly. And then people kind of get swept up in this tornado of attention grabbing, and they feel overwhelmed. They feel anxiety. They kind of realize that, okay, all my life I've kind of did what I could to become the best version of myself, or I found a way of living. And now all these stories and all these people that I respect and all these outlets that I respect are telling me that's not good enough anymore. Well, how would you not feel kind of a little crushed by that? Well, what I would say is that that's a fair feeling to feel, but also you need to realize that they're trying to sell you something. And they're trying to get your attention to, well, subscribe to their new product, or really to gain attention so that they can raise a bigger round of investment. They're just acting in their own interest. It's not malevolent, but the result is people feeling overwhelmed and people feeling left behind. And the result is also people feeling anything but clear on what to do. It's clear to everybody that this technology is changing the world. And it's also clear to everybody that it's not going away. Much like the internet and smartphones, like we're not going back to a version of this world that doesn't have those, right? It's only going to be more prevalent. But then the question is really like, is that accurate? Should I be overwhelmed? Should I feel left behind? My argument is that no, you should not. And it's actually really easy to kind of manage when you get a little bit of guidance. And what I would recommend is the following. When you start into the space and when you want to get educated and kind of like get a grasp on it, all you really need in the first 1 to 200 hours is just spend time in ChatGPT. Just understand how it functions. The latest feature, they can do their marketing stuff. Let them be. That's okay. But let me tell you, as somebody who's spent, frankly, way too much time of my life, way too much life force on just learning this stuff and teaching it, all of the big wins for people who are not deep into this yet, they're almost all of them are in ChatGPT. And if you just learn to use that tool better, you're already ahead of 95% of society. You just have to spend some time there. Make it a daily habit to try a new thing. And then ultimately you want to get to a point where you can fluidly input your thoughts and the questions that come up in your mind into chat. And it will guide you. If you're not sure what to do, where to even start, ask it. Tell it, hey, I kind of want to use chat a bit more. I'm not even sure where to start. You hit enter. And it tells you, it gives you different examples. Hey, here's a few things you could do with it. Now, you can get guidance from people like me and others on the internet. You can buy books, you can educate yourself. But ultimately, it's going to come down to people actually trying. And I think the antidote to overwhelm and to all this anxiety, which is, again, it's just grounded in the reality we live in. It's fair to have that. But the antidote to that is really just finding a thing that works for you and then going down this path of using it regularly. And quickly, you'll realize that there's real utility there. Quickly, you'll realize that a lot of the bleeding edge stuff that they keep marketing is a research preview that is not even relevant to you. And I'm here to tell you that most of that stuff is completely irrelevant to almost everybody. What matters is ChatGPT for one of its competitors. Like if you want to use Gemini, that's fine. And what matters is that you actually use it, because the biggest AI results, they're found in personalized use cases. You need to find the things that work, and then you need to add a little bit more context on you and your life, and then it will really unlock the potential of it. And you don't need to worry about the latest release, because if it's big enough, it'll trickle down to chat anyway. And yeah, that's what I tell most people. It's not that complicated, but it can feel overwhelming. But just use it and you'll feel better about it. And yeah, people are not actually missing out as much as it's communicated.
Great. Thank you so much, Igor. I appreciate that. There is so much hype and overload these days. We're all feeling overwhelmed. And I like that little thing you said about they're selling something that may still be in research, which I think is ironic, but I see that working in technology for the past 30 years. I see it. But AI is definitely a game changer. I think, as you said, let's take one step at a time, wade into the water slowly, build that muscle memory daily by just using it for a few minutes, and then find something that works for you. I think that really is going to resonate here with our audience. So I appreciate that.
And Brian, if I may, one more thing that I would add there is the way I would look at all of it is like learning a new language. That's how I look at it. It's you're learning to speak ChatGPT. You're learning to speak AI. And if you look at it that way, well, guess what? If somebody like publishes like, hey, there's new vocabulary and there's new ways to use the language, like it's like fine, but like I'm just getting started here. So let me figure out how to introduce myself. Let me figure out how to learn the basics of this language. And let me not worry about all of the latest and greatest and whatever is the stuff people might be innovating at the edge. Now, to be frank, that's where this analogy kind of falls apart, because people are not really innovating on the bleeding edge of a language, right? But if you think about it as a skill, like don't try and go swim in the ocean if you haven't even touched water before. Like just go and learn the basics of swimming first in a safe environment and really and then progress your way into it. So it's just learning a skill. And people don't see that as that, and these companies, they don't market it as such. They market it as if the world was changing in a massive way, where really they're just adding new capabilities to a core skill that people should be acquiring step by step.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Jumping into the next question, Igor, you sold your AI education company, AI Advantage, to Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi. What made this partnership the right next chapter, and how does it expand your original vision?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, we got in touch like 5 months ago. And just through initial conversation, there was, when you sometimes talk to people and there's just this like instant spark and it just sort of works and it's easy. Well, that's how it was here. And then like looking back now, it's obvious why it was so easy. Like now in the new company that we're building together, when we list out our mission, our vision, and the values, they're almost identical to what I've been building before. It's empowering as many people as possible with these skills to become a better version of themselves and to unlock their own time so they can do more of what they love, and unlocking more leverage on the things that matter to them. And we've been doing exactly that. I've been doing exactly that for the past few years. So they had the same idea. Obviously, they wanted to go to a whole different scale and bring it not just to their audiences, but to as many people in the world as possible. So the alignment was really simple. It expands my vision in a way where now we get to reach way more people. We get to teach way more people. We get to change their lives for the better and really serve them in a way that none of these companies will ever do, I think. Just because these tech companies, they're incentivized to like increase shareholder value and they want to maximize their equity value, and they're always going to be hyping the next thing and releasing new features and all of that to do it. But for us, it's really about empowering the individual to do more with their life by using this technology to their advantage. That's where the name comes from, AI Advantage. It's about you personally gaining an advantage, gaining an edge over not even others, mainly over your former self, to become a better version of yourself. And I had that in mind. Tony and Dean had that in mind. And for conversation, we just realized like, okay, we can go faster, better, and further by combining forces. So we did that, and here we are.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it. I have a lot of respect, obviously, for you and Dean and Tony. Done a lot of reading and listening and videos and seminars with those gentlemen. So thank you. I loved how there was that great connection initially. You talked about that, and it's only growing. You've worked with them now with the new company for several months on mission, vision, values, and definitely there's a connection. You guys are aligned very much so. But what's cool is that shared vision is to help people, empowering them to be a better version of themselves, which I really like. And Igor, last question of the day, as we look ahead, what do you believe the most important AI skill people should master over the next 3 to 5 years? Not to become technical experts necessarily, but to stay relevant and empowered.
That's a great question. So I think, first of all, we need to talk about kind of the AI landscape briefly and how it will be evolving. And then I would answer that by like what the best skill to develop in that context is. So what's happening in AI right now is we've seen kind of since the advent of ChatGPT in, I believe it was 30th November of 2022, that was really a breaking point where not just thousands or hundreds of thousands of developers that were kind of experimenting with this stuff had access to this technology, but all of a sudden, tens of hundreds of millions of users are using these products on a daily basis worldwide. So the world has really changed. We're moving into an age where this general intelligence, as I'll call it here, that we use in ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or any one of the big players' products, has become widely accessible. Students use it to help with their coursework. Adults use it to draft emails. They also use it to plan, to strategize, to get different points of view. But that's where we're at right now. Where we're trying to move towards in the next few years is going to be a world where it actually takes a bit more action. So you can think about it this way. If you're in your Gmail account and you're trying to draft an email, well, a few years ago, you do it completely by hand, right? You write it, every single word you're going to write by hand. Now, you might be in a reality where you start by opening up ChatGPT, you bring in the history of the conversation, you copy paste it in, and you say, okay, draft an email for me that I could send as a reply to this. And then maybe you add like another sentence of what your initial idea was for the email, right? And you get a draft, maybe you make some edits and you send it. Well, this future that we're moving towards is ChatGPT already having access to your email account. ChatGPT being a bit more proactive by telling you in the morning, like, okay, I see you got 14 new emails. 3 of these seem irrelevant. 2 are high priority. And for the others, we'll talk about those later. Let's start with the high priority ones. I drafted responses for you. This one, I'm 10 out of 10 confident. This one, I might need your review. And then you're going to go in there. You're going to say, okay, the first one, perfect. Second one, add this little detail, and they'll be sent. And then ultimately, it'll become so good that it will be better at communicating and responding than you yourself, because it'll just have so much more data on you than you have yourself. It'll have your behavioral data. It might have your health data. It's going to have everything, all your communications and stuff eventually. And then it's just going to run on autopilot. So what's going to be left then? That's the big question. And that's a question people really struggle with. Like, how do I adjust to this changing age where a lot of the manual tasks that I've been doing, especially on the computer, will just not exist anymore? Communications will be sent, appointments will be set, right? A lot of the bureaucracy is going to go away eventually, right? Because it's very standardized. It's like, fill out this form, and if it meets these 5 criteria, then you're ready to move on to phase 2. AI is going to be able to nail that, right? So what is left? There's a few things that are left. I kind of like narrow it down to 3. And then I think ultimately people should work on these 3, and I'll give a recommendation for a skill that you can build towards this. But the first one is your identity. It's really who you are. It's experience you have in this world. No matter how much AI trains on different examples, it won't have a consistent identity. Like if you go into chat and, for example, you ask it like what it thinks of a certain issue. Let's take an example. Let's say, what do you think about, I don't know, animal protection when it comes to protecting wildlife in the oceans or something? It'll give you an opinion. If you then respond with a counter opinion and you say, no, I really strongly feel that is not the case, and you're wrong, and etc., its response will be going back on its position. It will not reinforce what it believes. It'll be like, oh yeah, of course you're right. It is built to help you, to serve you. It will not hold that stance confidently. You can talk it into any opinion you want by re-prompting it. It has no core beliefs, right? It just read a bunch of patterns and it regurgitates them to you in order to help you. Now, if that's going to keep happening, humans have an identity, right? And this identity, developing that and like really learning who you are at your core. Sure, there's a piece to that is kind of external, what you've experienced in this world, but like really learning who you are is going to benefit us in the future because AI can never replicate that. It can replicate this intelligence in terms of like analyzing tasks and planning, but really people being people will always stay the same way. I'll give a quick example, which is chess has been solved a long time ago in terms of like winning against humans, right? Yet in 2026, chess is more popular than ever. People love watching it. People love playing it. All the chess platforms are at all-time highs in terms of users, right? There's chess celebrities, all that. Although a computer has beat us a long time ago, but nobody really cares because humans care about humans. And I think that will stay that way. The second piece is really our ability to judge certain things. So the AI can express its opinions and it can uphold a certain system in like a bureaucratic system. It can go through the steps, go through the motions and do for us, right? Put these systems into place. But when it comes to judging things as we like them, AI can't replicate that. AI can't build communities. AI can't build families. AI can't build long-term relationships with other people with real trust involved. Only we can do that. So all of these human aspects, right? The last one would be taste. Your taste that develops over time and everything, your taste and everything. It's so deeply human that AI will never be able to replicate that. So all of these at the end of the day, just go back to becoming a better version of yourself and leaning more into your human side and realizing that a lot of the processes and a lot of the things like step 1, step 3, step 5, a lot of these formulaic processes, this is what it boils down to. And here I'll give my recommendation. All of these formulaic processes where there's a certain blueprint to executing a job, they will eventually be replaced by AI. But what is left is people who can take responsibility for it. What is left is people who have their opinion and confidence in their opinion. What is left is the relationships that we have, the taste that we have, and all of that can be developed and can be honed over time, right? And then in other cases, it will create a lot of abundance. And if I were to recommend one skill to thrive in all of this, well, I think in that version of the world, we shall see. But as we are in this transitional phase that might take, as you say, 3 to 5 years, in this transitional phase, I think there's an immense opportunity in doing everything that you're already good at and enhancing it with AI, right? What we learn and the way we teach is not by saying, forget everything, like AI is going to do it for you now. No. If you're really good at something, Brian, if you love podcasting, and if you're doing this, the way is to learn about these tools and find the different ways it can help you. That's also what the book is about. It's finding the different prompts that can help you immediately with becoming a better podcaster today. And I think that's a real opportunity here, using it to amplify what you do and what you are and amplify the impact you have on the world and really using it as a steroid rather than a replacement, because that's the phase we're in right now. We're not in this future where humans are not needed. I personally think that future is something very dystopian that we won't even fully get to. But right now, it doesn't even matter because right now we're in a phase of this being a tool that can enhance you, that can help you. And I think it's our responsibility as humans to keep growing. And if you also believe that, then in this technological age, it's your responsibility to learn the most capable consumer tech that we've seen in, well, maybe decades. So that's what I would recommend. Get good at this. See it as a skill that you need to hone. See it like learning a new language. And how do you learn a language? Well, you start with one word, then you move into one phrase, and eventually you hopefully get fluent. And if you do that, this transition will be so much softer because you'll have a real advantage over people who don't see it that way. and kind of turn their head sideways and pretend like it's not happening because it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A lot to unpack there, but I think it's important. I'll highlight just a few things here. The world definitely has changed since ChatGPT 3 years ago and other platforms, of course. But I think what's really cool and we can really embrace is AI will start to be your basic virtual assistant everyday tasks, right? Eventually it'll know you just as well as you, if not better. But ultimately, eliminating daily mundane tasks, giving you back that time and creativity is the big part. And what last thing I like to, you mentioned responsibility, right, as being one of those. And I think that is so important. Guardrails and ethics, we talk about it on this podcast. I think we've talked about AI for the last 2-3 years now on the podcast here with some of the greatest minds in AI. And I think that's one thing that we all have to keep there at the forefront is ensuring that we're doing the right thing with AI. So I really appreciate your insights today. And Igor, it was such a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
My pleasure, Brian.
Bye for now.